guys, so I just wanted to give you a little tour of the Pass Tracker that I use. I've gotten a lot of questions about it, and so I just figured that I would give you guys kind of a tour of what the Pass Tracker is, what it looks like, and how I use it. So this one is a blank version that I had used for Med 2. I'm going to show you my Med 3 Pass Tracker now. You can definitely see that a lot of things have changed since I've been using this. I am always updating my Pass Tracker. I'm always changing the layout and how things look, sometimes to make things simpler, sometimes to streamline things, but this is the one that I used for Med 2, and this was my layout. So what this Pass Tracker is it is to keep you organized. It's to make sure that you are attending the lectures or going through all of the goals, making sure that you're hitting all of the material that you're supposed to be hitting, and making sure that you're clarifying any confusing concepts that you might have. And this is going to be super beneficial for you when you are studying for CAS. So you can see down here, I have lots of different tabs: cardio, respiratory, CAS 1, renal, CAS 2, endocrine, and then I don't have my CAS 3 on here. But let's go back through and talk about each of these things. So this first column here, this is all of the lectures. So I will put the dates here in this column of when that lecture is. I will put the goal that that lecture pertains to. And then as you can see here, these columns here, C through H, these are what I consider to be a pass. So a pass can mean anything to you. It's basically a pass through the material. That's why it's called a pass. So for me, in Med 2, a pass was a lecture, a note summary, watching the Boards and Beyond video, so maybe if I used first aid or if I went to SGA, and then going through my Anki deck. So as you can see here, each time I would do one of these things, I would put a 1 in the box, and then you can see over here in column H that it's going to count my passes for me. And you can also see I put here, it says 3 minimum. Each one should I should have seen each material at least 3 times. So for goal 1, anatomy of the mediastinum, I would attend lecture, I'd watch my Boards and Beyond video, and then maybe I'd do my Anki deck. So then that would be my 3 passes, and then you can see that the color changed because I've hit how many passes I needed to hit for that goal, so I'm good. Anything above that is just kind of extra practice. And then over here in this column is your difficulty ranking. So maybe I struggled with anatomy of the mediastinum, and maybe I ranked it a 2. So you can see it changes the colors for you. So for number 5 is like the hardest. Like I find that subject super difficult. So this is my Med 3 Pass Tracker. So you can see by the time that we get to CAS, very few of these are actually things I need to go over. Usually once I get to CAS, I won't have any leftovers. Everything will usually be a 2 or below, and that was the case for this. This was actually a 1. So that's what it ends up looking like before CAS, is something like this, where you've gone over the goals, you've gone over everything, and mostly it is 1s or 2s, like I said. So this is just generic, right? I just did 1 through 5 just to kind of show you the color changes and how you might rank them. They don't usually, when I start with these goals, a lot of them do start out as maybe 4s or 5s. I struggled a lot with goal 10 here. So this one, I ended up with, I think it was quite a few. I think I had 10 passes on this material before it finally got down to like a 1 or a 2. So it took me a while learning the coagulation cascade. But that's going to happen, right? But that's the important part, is like over here in challenges, so I would have written down coagulation cascade. And then I know that that's something that I need to go over because I made sure to point it out that that's something that I was struggling with. And I get a lot of times that people are like, well, how do you stay up to date with material? How do you stay up to date with material? Well, this is how I do it. I just keep going through the material. I keep going through it, and then as I'm going through it, I make sure that I rank the difficulty and how much I struggled with it, and then I make sure to write down any challenges that I had with that material, being as specific as I can, so that way I know when I go back to review that, I know what to review. And that's really important for when we start talking about CAS. So this PASS tracker here is a summary. This is the exact one. I don't have the difficulties here. But these are the exact concepts that I needed to revise for CAS. This is how I planned my schedule when it came to CAS 1. And it's the same thing that I ended up doing with renal as well. Obviously, renal only had 16 goals and it was very, very short. But this is exactly how I do it and how I plan my study schedule. There's no need for me to go back to goal 2. Goal 2 was easy. I didn't need to review that. There was no need for me to go back through goal 9. Goal 9 was easy. I didn't need to review that. But again, I did that through all of these. So like respiratory was super easy for me. I had barely anything to review. Most of my review actually came from cardio for that goal. But now I know exactly what things I need to do to study for CAS, and this was what got me a really good grade on my CAS exam, was making sure that I'm studying the things that I'm struggling with and not studying things that I don't need to study, that I don't struggle with. A lot of times it feels good just to study things that you're good at, but that's not what's going to get you the good grade. You need to study things that you're not good at, and this is how I know which things I'm not good at. And then you can see a couple of the high yield things that I knew I needed to know and review. I put over here on the side a couple of slides and things like that. PbO2 determined by tissue consumption. So just a couple high yield things that I made sure I didn't want to forget and I needed to know. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. But it's a quick way for me the night before the test, before I go to sleep, to like look and be like, okay, yeah, this is all the special circulation mechanisms I need to know. This is all the vasodilators I need to know, things like that. And you can see this column is completely filled in. So this is the high yield topics. So basically what I do here is I go through each goal and I say, okay, what is testable in this goal? What can they ask me questions on? And the only way you're going to know that is if you've done practice questions on the material. So please make sure you're doing your practice questions. But that's what all of this is. So once I've gone through all of the concepts that I needed to revise, then I go to the high yield stuff and make sure that I have that down pat. Because if you know the high yield topics, you've gotten your pass on the exam. You've gotten a 70%. Once you start going deeper beyond the high yield topics, that's how you get to your 80s and 90s. But to pass the test, these are the things that I needed to know. These were the things that were the most important to know. And then that is how I revised my study schedule, made sure I knew what I needed to know, and ended up with a good grade. Like I said, this PASS tracker has been my holy grail. I've used it since Med 1, and I can't recommend it enough. Another thing that you're going to see over here on this PASS tracker is my resources. So it's kind of hard to show you this one. These are all of the Boards and Beyond videos that I did watch for the cardio section on Med 2, but this section is actually what has probably changed the most. I leave it there just so that way I remember which videos I watched. But now this is how I do it, and I like it so much better. So this is from Med 3. This was my Foundations PASS tracker. So here you can see I've actually linked all of the videos that I need to watch. So these are Boards and Beyond videos, but they're very specific now. I specifically have them and I linked them. So all I have to do to watch these videos is literally just click that. So it makes it nice and super easy to do. You can see here I also have Pathoma, and that's something that I've changed up again as well. Like I said, I'm always changing things. But here's my HML PASS tracker that I'm currently working on. So that's why I don't have everything filled in, because this is what I'm currently doing. But you can see I've made a column just for Boards and Beyond and just for Pathoma, because those are the ones that I use the most. But then also you can see in Pathoma I have like Sketchy here, because I need Sketchy for the cancer drugs and things like that. But here, like you can see, I'm already starting to write down some of the things that I knew I need to go back and make sure that I know. So I need to remember and memorize all of the oncogenes and tumor suppressor genes. I need to memorize all of the signs and symptoms for the leukemias based on vignette and histology. So I'm just going through and saying what I need to go back and review. But that is the basics of the PASS tracker. That is how you use it. You can take any of these columns, and these columns can mean anything to you, like I said. So for this one, I had these 5, but that's not currently what I'm using now. Now I'm doing my summary video, my learning objectives in my slides, Anki Deck lecture, and practice questions. For me, I really wanted to start keeping track of how many practice questions I'm doing on each goal in each set. So you can see usually I'm not at 3 passes. Like I'm already at 6 for goal 1, 5 for goal 2. So I'm usually doing more passes than just 3. But I make sure that I hit at least 3 for each goal. That way I know for sure I've learned the material and I'm learning the material how I'm supposed to. If you have any other questions on this, let me know. I have linked this PASS tracker for Med 2, this blank one. But you guys can change anything that you want to change on this. Of course, you're going to need to change the dates up. You're going to need to probably change the goals up. You're probably not going to want to use Boards and Beyond. If you use anything else, Costanzo, or Guyton, or anything else that you use, you can put your resources that you've used over here that you've listed. But yeah, I really hope this helps you guys. I really think it's a great idea that you keep track of the goals and anything that you're struggling with. But yeah, again, if you have any questions, just let me know.